I will start my reading practice from the book Effective Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie. Here I start. But do inexperienced speakers usually achieve such commendable swiftness and succinctness in their openings? The majority of untrained and unskilled speakers will begin in one of the two ways, both of which are bad. Let us discuss them forthwith. Beware of opening with a so called humorous story. For some lamentable reason, the novice often feels that he ought to be funny as a speaker. He may, by nature, mind you, be as solemn as the encyclopedia, utterly devoid of the lighter touch. Yet the moment he stands up to talk, he imagines, he feels, or ought to feel the spirit of Mark Twain descending upon him. So he is inclined to open with a humorous story, especially if the occasion is an after dinner affair. What happens? The chances are 20 to 1 that the narration, the manner of this newly turned recounter, is as heavy as the dictionary. The chances are his stories don't click. In the immortal language of the immortal Hamlet, they prove very stale, flat, and unprofitable. If an entertainer were to misfire a few words like that before an audience that had paid for their seats, they would boo and shout, "Give him the hook." But the average group listening to a speaker is very sympathetic. So, out of sheer charity, they will do their best to manufacture a few chuckles, while deep in their hearts they pity the would be humorous speaker for his failure. They themselves feel uncomfortable. Haven't you witnessed this kind of fiasco time after time? In all the different realm of speech making, what is more difficult, more rare than the ability to make an audience laugh? Humor is a hair trigger affair. It is so much a matter of individuality of personality. Remember, it is seldom the story that is funny of by and in itself. It is the way it is told that makes it a success. 99 men out of 100 will fail woefully with the identical stories that make Mark Twain famous. Read the stories that Lincoln repeated in the taverns of the English judicial district of Illinois, stories that mean men drove miles to hear, stories that men sat up all night to hear, stories that, according to an eyewitness, sometimes caused the natives to whoop and roll off their chairs. Read those stories aloud to your family and see if you conjure up a smile. Here is one Lincoln used to tell with roaring success. Why not try it? Privately, please, not before an audience. A late traveler trying to reach home over the muddy roads of the alien's prairies was overtaken by a storm. The night was black as ink. The rain descended as if some dam in the heavens had broken. Thunder rent the angry clouds like the explosion of dynamite. Chain lightning showed tree falling around. The roar of it was very nearly deafening. Finally, a crash more terrific, more terrible than any the helpless man had ever heard in his life brought him to his knees. He was not given to praying usually, but oh Lord, he gasped. If it is all the same to you, please give us a little more light and a little less noise. You may be one of those fortunately endowed individuals who has the rare gift of humor. If so, by all means cultivate it. You will be thrice welcome wherever you speak. But if your talent lies in other directions, it is folly, and it ought to be high treason for you to attempt to wear the mantle of John C. M. Depew. Were you to study his speeches and Lincoln's and Job Hedges, you would probably be surprised at the few stories they told, especially in their openings. Edwin James Cattle confided to me that he had never told a funny story for the mere sake of humor. It had to be relevant, had to illustrate a point. Humor ought to be merely the frosting on the cake, merely the chocolate between the layers, not the cake itself. Strickland Gillian, one of the best humorous lecturers in the United States, made it a rule never to tell a story during the first 3 minutes of his talk. If he found that practice advisable, I wonder if you and I would not also. Thank you. That's it for the day.